I'm Taylor Jackson, and we're here at a wedding day with some challenging lighting at the reception. We'll get to that a little bit later. Let's do wedding thing.
I'm like actually doing this thing. I'm like, hold on.
Hello and welcome to another hybrid wedding day. Today we're doing both photography and video, and as you can see right now, we're in my car. ChatGPT defines a car. We're not going to get into that. I have with me my Sony A7IV and the 35mm GM. Oh, and until June 30th, 2023, you can get my all-new advanced wedding photography marketing video series. And until June 30th, it also comes with a nice discount as well as some bonuses like my full 3-hour wedding photography workshop. So if you'd like to learn how to book a 30 or 50 wedding season, this will get you on your way. You'll have so much extra money to spend on your addiction to Outback Steakhouse cheese fries. Is that just me? Then you can spend your money on new camera gear and nice experiences, like seeing this bean for some reason. And if you sign up just for a few dollars more, you can actually sign up for the full members website. And what that means, you have instant access to all of my content. It's all on the screen right now. There's a lot of it, including downloads like my contract and my email templates and a bunch of stuff. So head on over there if you're interested in doing photo video coverage as one human being or as a small team, because I do believe it is the future of wedding photography and wedding video. We are converging very, very quickly. So what's in there? Camera on 35 to 150. In there, the 85. My laptop in the bottom. And the camera that I'm filming on fits in this hole right here. But also has some headphones in it in case I'm concerned about audio. In the top of my bag, I have an extra battery, and that's about all. These are just GoPro batteries for the behind the scenes. But here we have some earplugs. So if you want to save your hearing, get those.
Not sure I understand.
I also should have mentioned I have a Godox V1, the Canon version actually, and then I also have a controller for it, the X2T. You can use whatever controllers you want. I like this system. I don't know if I'll use it or not. We'll find out together. Beep, beep. So now we find a nice, actually first we take the lens cap off, and then we find a nice exterior of this hotel. It's the worst whenever you begin a wedding day and the hotel looks terrible. And you're like, I need some sort of establishing shot, but it doesn't exist. Today though, I think one exists. Here we go. Photography first, switch to video mode, or you can just hit the button here. I'm just gonna hit the button here. One of the downsides with hitting the button there is that you don't get the profile that you get in video mode. So you can separate the profiles, so there's one profile for photography and one for video, but unfortunately you hit the button in photo mode, it just uses photo mode profile. Here we are inside a building, wow. You ever been inside a hotel? Because now you have. Hotels are notoriously tricky for finding anywhere to hang a dress, so you kind of do the best you can. Black and white kind of clean that image up a little bit. There's a little bit, maybe too many colors, distracting going on. Black and white is better. I usually find one surface. There's usually a table that's a nice wood or maybe a chair to basically do everything for detail photography on, as well as detail videos today too. These are also the uncorrected video clips, just so you see what's coming straight out of my camera. I use my LUT. It's a 2022 CL LUT that kind of goes with the preset that you're actually seeing on all the images here, and they basically blend together nicely in post-production. I like this 35 GM a lot because it also doubles as a bit of a macro lens. So it's not a true macro lens, but it gets you kind of close enough to be, at least for a wedding day. You're not going to be photographing any beautiful insects, but it gets you by for some jewelry and some details. So this is, I film everything in slow motion, so everyone can just go regular speed, but I think she was trying to do slow motion so that I could just have it in slow motion, but it didn't work out. Anyways, do everything in slow motion. I like it better. At least you have the option, so if you're shooting 60p, you can slow down those real life moments and make them a little bit more wonderful and beautiful. Also, when you're kind of trapped in a room like this where there's not really great light in it, just place yourself by the window. I typically stand kind of at the window and shoot into the room, which is sometimes problematic for just the amount of, there's a lot of people in a small space and it's a little bit challenging. In these situations, I also really rely heavily on shallow depth of field. So I shoot everything at 1.4 or 1.8. And if you want to see all of the settings, I'll actually put a video of me walking through all the images over on the member site. It'll be under the weekly content. So if you're a member, you have access to all the settings, and that is under the weekly content. Another thing I could have done in this situation, I have a Stella Pro reflex light, which is both a continuous light that's very, very bright, as well as a strobe. And I have it with me most of the time, and you can kind of bounce it off of a roof or off of something that's a little bit more neutral colored. and it will add some nice light to the room, or at least kind of balance it out a little bit. Sometimes directional light like this works really well, like a shot like this. It works very well, I think. But if you're struggling to get the images that you need, I find a continuous light bounce somewhere in a corner to kind of light up the entire space a little less annoying than just using a flash. I obviously take a lot of photos, and that flash going off every, not even a couple of seconds, like every second, is just kind of annoying for the day. But if that doesn't bother you and that doesn't bother your couples, by all means, go flash. Here we go. Leaving. Got that limo shot. I explain this more in the hybrid editing over on the members website, but basically what I'm capturing footage that I know I might not end up using, but just in case I end up being light today. I know I got 2 ceremonies, so it'll be no problem to do a highlight, but just in case, you know. All right, leaving, getting ready. Oh well, and I've been checking Google Maps to make sure the drive is going to be okay, because yesterday we thought there'd be some road closures, but so far no road closures. Half-hour drive. Let's go to church. We don't really ever go to churches. It's like my only church wedding in the entire year. Is that true? Is that false? I actually don't know. We'll find out together here in Scarborough. Kennedy Road. Got that. Got the Aquarium Club. More aquariums. Aquarium capital of the world here in Scarborough. Look, another fish. Everywhere. All right, back to the wedding. Here we are. Getting the establishing shots, one of the only times that I use that wide angle lens on the wedding day. We'll get one shot maybe of the couple, but for the most part, I don't really use the wide angle lens too much. 35 is about as wide as I'd go. The wide angle lens that I'm talking about is the 20mm f1.8 for Sony, which is a lens I love. I film a ton of YouTube content with it, but on a wedding day, maybe 15, 20 photos. Or if the party gets really crazy, I will actually usually switch to that. So maybe a few more in that case. And again, this is the uncorrected, unlutted video footage that you're seeing. Members also have access to all my LUTs as well. I will go through, and anything that the couple's brought in, I will typically capture. I think today, for the most part, this is all kind of stuff that's just at the church. I'm not going to include too much of this on the highlight, but it's nice to know that there is a gift shop. Well, you want to be video boy starting now?
Yeah, I think so.
Video boy. This is for the video.
Video boy.
There we go. The GoPro's been fixed. Liam is now video boy. Look at him video boying. So this is something we've been doing a little bit more. Now that we kind of trust everybody that does photo video coverage, that we'll assign one of us to be kind of main video and one of us main photography. When it's nice light like it is now, we do all the candids we possibly can. So let's go over here and do candids. For hybrid photo video coverage, it obviously is possible to do it as one person or to do it primarily as you as a main for both. But when you have somebody that you trust, you can make a slightly better product, I think, by assigning somebody to kind of be the main video person for the day, or at least for the ceremony section of the day. Liam's also a bit split, so I offset hours today. Usually I don't do this, so basically I started a little bit earlier than Liam. Liam leaves before dinner, and I get his hours added onto my schedule at the end of it. It's a thing that I don't usually do, but I kind of worked it in this specific case because I knew we were far from home and Liam has a family, and I appreciate him helping me out, even though he's shooting 50 weddings of his own probably this year. In an ideal world, what I would like to do, which I don't think really works in reality, is that as soon as we sit down for dinner, that I would be the one that gets to go home. I tried to make this work, but it's just very weird when it's your name as the business name. It's never felt natural in a conversation or a natural request for me to ask of my couples, even though it would be nice to, I don't know, be home before sunset. Also, all the best photos come at sunset, so it's it's hard. I like doing a good job. I enjoy going out to the weddings. I like making the work, and I feel like I would be missing out both creatively, and also my couples might feel a little bit weird that their reception isn't as important to me as the rest of the wedding day. So here I am on my 35 to 150. Again, I will do some video clips. Liam is pretty much, I think at this point, only running video. And he knows if he's in a spot, if he goes up to the balcony and I'm not there, he's going to grab a few photos. But for the most part, video boy. I notice when I do hybrid photo video coverage, when I'm doing both actively, I shoot a lot more horizontal images. And when I'm doing photography only, I will probably do 80% verticals and 20% horizontal through the wedding day, which maybe that's crazy. but I find that vertical images get used a lot more on things like Instagram. And I think that a lot of the time, obviously my couples are going to print an album and they're going to do that. But most of the time, I would say the main use is for social. And if those vertical images are being shared more, I'm going to kind of modify my approach to create to suit my couples and what they're actually sharing. It's kind of nice actually you can also see, depending on your gallery system, but you can usually see what images are downloaded the most, or what images your couples are downloading, or what images the parents and email addresses are downloading. And I think this was an eye-opening experience for me to look at that data, because I realized that the family photos and the most boring photos of the day, as well as a few photos of the couple that I also consider to be pretty standard, are usually the ones that are downloaded way more, or printed way more than anything else from the day. Regardless of how creative you get, you make some really incredible creative images, and the standard boring smile face the camera of the couple is still going to win when it comes to prints. It might not creatively satisfy you all the time, but I think that there is a balance in there, and to create the boring work is actually the most important work of the day. So I have the C2 button, the one that's up there beside my record button on my camera, set to APS-C crop mode. You probably know this, and I hit that and I go and I can actually get up to, it works in video mode as well. So if you need some extra reach and you want to turn your 70-200 into maybe whatever the math is, a 135-ish to 300, all of a sudden you can do that very, very quickly. And for video, I use it all the time. For photography, I also use it all the time. Essentially what you're doing is you're just cropping the image in your camera and saving yourself a little bit of time in post-production. If you're using an AI editor like Imagen, I'll put a link in the description if you're interested in doing some AI edits. If you use my link, you get 1,500 free edits rather than the 1,000 edits they would usually give you just on their website. And that is enough to kind of get comfortable, I think, with using AI for editing. I will use it for full wedding galleries. For these, I edited all on my own with my preset CL 2022. But for full galleries, when I need ultimate consistency across the entire day, I find that Imagen is actually the best. And there's kind of two ways to go about using it. You can either train it with your own images, and essentially what it's going to do, it's going to see that, hey, last time you were in this exact scene, this is how you edited this image. So next time I see a similar image, I'm going to give it kind of the same white balance and exposure and other details like that. And it's incredibly, I think last year I was saying that it was doing 98% accuracy, which meant that I would go into wedding day, I would still adjust some images. This year I'm adjusting maybe 2 images, and usually I'm just deleting them because I realize that it's just one that shouldn't have been included. Also, I don't know if you saw how fast that first kiss was. Liam and I both kind of looked at each other, we're like, we got it. We were both prepared, but it was fast. I will say, if it's one of your first weddings, especially if it's maybe a ceremony that you're not familiar with, talk to the officiant prior to the wedding and ask them for like, hey, when are the important things happening? Like, hey, first kiss. Because you will discover, especially in Catholic ceremonies, that the first kiss kind of bounces around a little bit. Sometimes it's after. In Canada, we sign the paperwork. I think in the UK and most of Europe would do that as well. In the US, I don't think it's a part of the ceremony. But sometimes after they do that is when they do the first kiss. Sometimes it's right after rings. Sometimes it's right after vows. And I don't know, just always be ready. Don't be sitting in the back pew because you think it's just only you're into the service now and nothing's going to happen. Always be ready. There's probably an acronym for that. For a lot of these ceremony images, I switched to my Taylor Jackson TI 2022 preset because I found that the color balance and everything just looked a little bit better. And as far as skin tones go, because it's kind of, I don't know, churches are always a weird mixed light where there's some stained glass light as well as some incandescent light as well as some just straight up sunlight. So I will do what I can to kind of minimize that using my preset rather than going through and I guess Imagen will also do masking adjustments for you as well. So if you're not already sold enough on them, they'll actually mask all of the images, which means that they will do in Lightroom, I'm sure you're aware of it. You can go in and you can kind of just automatically select the couple and it'll figure out what the subject is, and you can add a little bit of exposure or you can change the white balance just on them, and Imagen will do that for you automatically, which is amazing. All right, everyone, we're gonna do a group photo down here, so if you just want to come down, I'm gonna be on the sidewalk, so if you're comfortable coming down the stairs, come down the stairs. If not, you can remain up here. That looks good. And if everyone just wants to come down and find a spot wherever you're comfortable. This is also a time that you need to get a wider lens sometimes. So I'm going back to that 20 so that I don't have to change a lens, or at least having the 20 ready. I would say most of the day I have a 50 or an 85 prime on my camera. Today I had a lot of 35. Usually it's a 50 or an 85, and then my second camera body will either be the 35 or the 20. And I don't know, again, I don't find myself going much wider than 35 at most wedding days. So if you're weighing options and you're like, this Sony 20mm f1.8 is like $1,000, should I just get the Tamron 20mm f2.8 instead for, I think, $250? Definitely get the Tamron, because it's not worth the extra expense for a lens that you use so infrequently. Get one of good quality, but it doesn't have to be the best lens made in that category if you're using it for like 5 shots in a day. Again, all the settings over on the members website, so if you want to check out all the settings that I'm shooting, including aperture, ISO, shutter speed, millimeters for lens, that's all over there. We are blessed for lighting today, and so the sun is actually over my back and it's lighting them up that way, and that's not something I usually do. It's obviously overcast and it's fine, but any other day, if it was sunny right now, we would not be able to do images like this. As you can see, the shadows kind of behind them there, but the shadows are soft enough that it's kind of just fine. So yeah, otherwise, I don't know what I would have figured it out. We would have went around the building. We would have found a spot, but this is a much better situation. So sometimes you just get fortunate, and life is good. And because I know that we had good lighting, you kind of have options. You can mix the day up a little bit as the wedding photographer. If you want to do some bridal party photos, you can do them here, because you don't know the next situation getting into what the lighting is going to be. And if the lighting is good, then you might as well get as much done as you can. Then there goes more fish. We had a bit of a gap in the schedule, so I got a Dawn Air, and it was nice. Then we went to my favorite trampoline park / wedding venue. What I like, this room is pretty dark, but there's just a single chair out here. I don't know if you can see it. I think it's reflecting. But that's it, just one chair.
Hello.
Creepy. Ooh. Sam Hurd would have done something great with that room, I bet. Is this your favorite indoor trampoline park / reception space?
Second favorite. This one has the highest safety standards of all the indoor venue / trampoline parks. So I know that the couple's going to be safe in Sky Zone for their pictures.
What are you shooting here? What is this thing?
This is a Nikon Z9. It is specially equipped to capture those trampoline portraits. You know, the 120K, 400. 120,
8K.
Yeah, 8K, 60p, all that raw goodness. You need that for the trampoline bride and groom portraits.
All right, very fortunate that we have some nice natural light. I wasn't expecting that for ceremony part 2. So yeah, side lit, but no problem. To give a walkthrough of this space, so the great thing is that we have a white ceiling and it's totally usable for bounce flash. So even though we have these aggressive bad pot lights, you can just bounce flash and make everybody look nice. So off-camera light setup going to be a requirement tonight. These pot lights, really challenging. So what I have is a Godox V1. And I got my little turkey foot. What I do is I put this on that, and it goes here on the light stand. There you go. This light stand is by a company called Newer, and I'm basically gonna hide it. I'll probably leave it at this height, actually, and I'll put it somewhere kind of near the podium, just bouncing off the ceiling nearby, with the full intention to completely overpower the lights. Usually I do my best to include whatever lighting setup they have, but today it's But today I'm totally fine to overpower everything that's going on, because I don't think the couple really designed it. They didn't bring it in, just kind of the way that it is. And they will prefer to have a much softer light on their faces rather than the harsh light that I'm currently probably standing in. How bad is that? Still ambient outside, and it's already bad. So even though you have great high ISO capabilities in your camera, unfortunately, sometimes you still gotta light it if the quality of light is as poor as it is today. So I have this X2T controller. And all I do is I'll usually use it pretty close to minimum-ish power, maybe 1/0.5 64th because I still will be shooting kind of high ISO. And I do my best to be very conscious of when the light is going off, that I know that people are going to be seeing the flash go off and it will attract the attention of people. And I do my best to, I don't like shooting with flash. So we're gonna be as minimal today in terms of taking images. It also will keep my my finger in check, because shooting mirrorless, you just shoot double the frames you would have if you were on DSLR. So that's it. That's the setup. Now we're gonna do another ceremony. This is Liam's spot, but he's leaving, so I eat his dinner. That's the rule. If Liam goes home, I eat Liam's dinner. He's having the grilled asparagus. I think if you want to be in the gazebo, just in the front entrance there. All right, that looks good. And take like one small step this way. That's good there. All right, that's good. Awesome. That looks good. And then, yeah, just get nice and close together there. I don't know if you want to do your one button up. Perfect. Awesome. And then do you want to do one just the two of you?
Sure.
Yep. Great. Perfect. All right, that looks great. That looks great.
Stay away. Oh, that's...
All right, that looks really good. Do you want to look at each other and laugh both on them for a second? So funny, so funny. Thank you. All right, that looks good.
Somewhere. Like, can you pick it out? It's black. No, I don't.
Perfect. All right. So these are the more standard shots that I usually get, and we can do them pretty quickly. I do have a list over on the members website if you're interested in seeing my kind of full day checklist. And it includes everything that I would normally get, but obviously if there's other requests or there's other things going on or family dynamics, things are always open to interpretation. I also do my best to get kind of a wider shot as well as close-ups of everybody that's coming through for photos. And also anyone that is kind of part of this photo session, I also tell them if they want photos with anyone else, partners, whatever it might be, at the reception, just let me know or make eye contact across the room and I'll come on over. Also, it got sunny, so we became a little bit more limited with where I can put them for photos.
Oh, goals!
Oh, that's one. Perfect. And I'm pretty much gonna have you kind of follow this, the brick line there.
Okay.
And if you want to, you can just kind of walk over that direction. Okay. And I'll just have you kind of hold hands and walk towards me one more time. All right, you guys take a walk and then I'll yell at some point. You can turn around.
Oh, so pretty. I know.
Perfect. And if you want to turn around and come back towards us here. Yeah, you can come back towards us. And there's Liam. Maybe some detail photos. Wide angle looks okay, but as you get closer, the pot lights will become more intense. So if you're ever dealing with bad lighting, get a little bit further away or shoot with a wider lens. Picture. Beautiful, right? And for other details, pick the table that's in the nicest light, so don't go to the one way over there. Although the light is kind of even. Shoot the details on here. Candles aren't lit yet, so get the close-ups of everything. Like that. And then come back for the wide shot. So this is Liam's outfit today. And this is my outfit. This wasn't intentional. Downloaded Liam's card and we have about a half an hour, so I'm actually going to cull through all of Liam's photos from the day, make my selects, and I'm going to upload them to Imagen so that I'm going to have most of the wedding done before I actually get home. And if you don't know what Imagen is, it is AI editing. You can also use it to cull, but I find that I'm pretty quick culling. So in a situation like this, I'm going to just cull everything and then I'm going to upload it to Imagen. It's going to edit everything exactly as I would, and then it's just done. And then I get home and I process from this point in the day forward. Life is good. Again, link in the description for that if you're interested. 1,500 free edits so you can process a wedding or two and see what it looks like to you. Moving into the second ceremony. Visually, a little bit more going on this time. And I think as far as now everybody's also invited to be part of the ceremony. So for candidates, it's also kind of a 10 out of 10. I have done, as I mentioned in the intro, I've done 1,000 weddings. I wrote a book about it. It's on Audible, or you can get the printed copy on Amazon. And I've done a lot of weddings, but I've actually never done this specific ceremony. I've done elements of this ceremony, but they've never come together in this way. So it was nice that we kind of got a little run through here and I could kind of see what was going to happen. For the most part though, if you have a lens like this 35 to 150 and you got some nice light or the ability to make some nice light, you're probably gonna be fine for most ceremonies, but just pay attention and be in it as much as you can. So this is kind of one of the reasons, I guess, why the day kind of stretched out a little bit, that we did some getting ready coverage, then we did a church ceremony, and then we did the ceremony here. So Liam has actually departed at this point in the day. So it's just for me to do my photography and my video coverage. So fortunate to have Liam all day on the Nikon Z9. But right now he's probably over at London Donair getting a Donair to eat on the way home. And I assume that he's also traded his car in for a convertible. And the roof is down and he's cruising. And there's a beach all of a sudden somewhere in the Toronto area. And that's his life right now. That might not be accurate. He's probably just in his car listening to a podcast on the way home. Also, I have a podcast. Search for it wherever you get your podcasts. That's one of the most cliche lines. This video is not sponsored by NordVPN though. My podcast is called Wedding Photography with Taylor Jackson, and we just put up the, I guess, 100th episode. Maybe 101 now, actually. So it's been going on for a minute, and it's now 100 years old, I guess. I'm very happy that I had this Tamron lens, because if I did not, I could have got shots, but I would have been moving around a lot more. Whereas with this 35 to 150, I can get the wide shots, I can get the close-ups, I can get everything I need. So shout out to this lens again for the 50th time this video. So quality of light is like borderline. If it would have got a little bit worse, I would have brought out the flash. I would have become a little bit more annoying and got the shots. But I thought that it was good enough, and fortunately, my theory proved to be true. My preset also tends to clean up skin tones as well. So if there's some weird lighting going on, I know I'm always shooting in mixed light. So my preset is kind of designed to make that a little bit easier and to make people look a little bit better in bad lighting scenarios. Now I'm on my 85. I'm just cruising around. Cocktail hour, what's up? Detail photos, what's up? Video, doing it all now. That Liam's on his way home in his convertible, top down with the Donair on the beach. It's a nice life Liam has now, but I get his dinner, so +1 for me. Yeah, this 35, it's going on. It took a minute there. I got there. And now they're going to be introed, so I'm actually setting up a light for first dances. I'm not going to use a light for the introductions. Introductions are always a bit challenging also. I tend to use the first few couples that come through the door as the warm-up, and then the actual couple as the everything that I've learned. It's also just an exit sign right there too, so it's a challenging situation. I don't know if there's a single introduction that I've ever shot that I've been like, that was the best one. I feel like they're all fine and they're good enough. They're documentary images and they're well lit and people look good in them, but I don't feel like I'm ever really excelling at this part of the day. The good thing though is that you get to usually warm up on other people coming through the door before the couple actually comes through the door. And I've actually switched to my older, so it's last year's preset pack, or 2 years ago now, Main 2021 is now the preset that I was using there for a little bit, because just the lighting, everything came together in a way that kind of worked with that preset. So I used 3 presets on this wedding, but for the most part, they all kind of blend together. So here I am with my light, lighting it up. That was a little bit almost too direct. I was standing directly beside my flash and it was fine, but it kind of looked almost a little bit direct. It'll look good in black and white. I'll put a black and white in the gallery. And this is kind of more where my flash is off to my left side there. And this is kind of more the angle that I like. So I'm pretty much waiting until someone's face is going to get the light from the flash. And I will be over kind of on that side to capture that when that happens. Or you don't even get to see that. Maybe my GoPro battery died. I don't know. New GoPro battery, ready to go. My light is in the center of the dance floor. And that one's a little bit almost too overexposed. My bad. I'll fix that. And the light kind of cleaned up. So yes, there are still pot lights and they're not so great. They look nice out of focus in the background. But with the big white drape and all the light on it, it actually made the scene pretty nice overall. So like that quality of light is really good. And that's just natural. From facing into the light, like right here, you can use some light, which I'm using on my camera. So I'm using on-camera flash, and I'm also going a lot black and white because it's very mixed lighting, which is not the most ideal. This might also be a time that I would switch to something like S-Log 3. I'm usually in Cinetone But as I mentioned in the beginning, that if you hit the record button when you're in photo mode, you don't get to use Cinetone if you've split the profiles, unless you're only shooting your only picture profile as Cinetone, in which case all of your images are also, at least the JPEGs are affected by it, and everybody looks really gray, and I don't love that. So I do split up the profiles, and sometimes I forget to hit the button on the back and actually move into video mode. I'm recording a video. These images though, they will clean up nicely with my LUT. Again, available on the member site. My goal for first dance images with parents is typically to get one good shot of each of their faces, and then one nice environmental one, maybe including the other partner, like that, or to focus in the background. And now a rare event. I do not switch to my cake cut lens, which is usually my 20mm. I stayed on the 35 GM, and I'm pretty happy with the images. It's hard because they're in front of a window, and if you've ever shot something in front of a window, you know that if you're using a flash, you're going to be in it. And I was using a flash, so I was very aware of that and trying to put myself off center. And I think it worked out as good as it possibly could in that situation without bringing like a softbox and lighting it like I was in the studio. Now, I will switch to that 20mm lens because I know that a lot of people are about to be on the dance floor, and I have my flash on my camera so that I'm able to just kind of bring it wherever I'm at and kind of light up that as the scene. And I'm pretty happy with the way that this is working out so far. Again, Godox V1, but there's a lot of other products that are great. Anything that has a lithium-ion battery, or I don't know if it's lithium, I think it is. Anything with a nice battery that lasts all day is great. I think that I don't really have to charge this battery ever. I do it before each wedding, but I've never even made it, I think, down 1 bar at a wedding day. I also leave my flash pretty low in intensity also, typically maybe around 1/64th power. So now downloading the remainder of my cards, and I'm actually just going to finish the call while I'm here. Might as well, right? Solid state drives, nice and fast, and selecting in photo mechanics, doing ones as I go through things, and just kind of, I'm gonna say it took me a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes to call this entire wedding, and that means that I can get them previews faster. And I didn't miss anything at the wedding day. It was while people were sitting and eating, but I'm pretty quick, and it's nice to just be able to focus on a thing and something that's not. I'm very introverted, and I find that weddings drain a lot of that energy from me. And doing something that's kind of process oriented that I'm pretty good at, and that I just know what I'm doing, and I'm not having an internal dialogue about it, that just, I don't know, recharges me a little bit. That's all for the day. Thanks for being here. Advanced Wedding Photography Marketing, out now, and get it in before June 30th, which is just a couple of days from now, and you get the bonus of my full 3-hour wedding photography workshop. There's also a 100% money back guarantee, so if you get it and you don't love it, send me an email and I will send your money back. But I think that you are going to love it, and I hope that you do, because there's a lot of good stuff in there. Thanks for watching. See you next time from Outback Steakhouse.